Okay, I am doing this recording while I am driving, so there's no video, just audio this time. And the reason I'm doing it this way is because I got a download. And after my little experience last time with not recording the download quickly, and Spirit kind of giving me a little spiritual spanking about that, so I'm going to attempt to do this while I'm driving so that I can get this download out. So in the spiritual community, you will often hear people talk about how we are all one. We are connected. And it sounds really beautiful in theory, and when we try to wrap our heads around that, it's really hard, because when we try to approach it from a thought perspective, an analytical perspective, we're trying to do that through our brain and through our own understanding, and that can be very difficult, especially if you're new to the spiritual journey. Now, this doesn't mean you're new to spirituality, because in essence, we are all spiritual beings having a human experience. But you might just be waking up to that fact, and so a lot of the information you are probably coming across is foreign to you. It feels unfamiliar or strange or hard to grasp. And so this concept of we are all one is thrown around a lot in the spiritual communities, and I was thinking about that today, and Spirit gave me some imagery to kind of help, and some information to kind of help explain this on hopefully a more practical level for those who have a hard time kind of wrapping their head around this concept. So I had a personal experience with Spirit to where he revealed himself to me as a giant ball of light. And I've explained this experience in other videos. Well, I have to re-upload all these videos, but I'll explain it again for those that are new. Excuse me. Give me a second to get a drink of water here. So, in my experience that I was having, I was being drawn towards this giant ball of light. Think of like a sun, but it's not a burning ball of fire. It was a giant ball of light, and it was this beautiful white, like golden white rays. And as I was being drawn closer, I noticed that I had an understanding of my presence. Like, I knew it was me, but I did not have a physical body. So basically what I perceived that to be is that was my soul energy. Like, I knew it was the essence of me, but I did not have a physical body. As I was being drawn into the light, and the rays of light were bathing me, I was feeling all these beautiful, positive, beautiful emotions: joy, elation, happiness, contentment, safety. And there were many things I experienced that I cannot tell you a proper word to describe it, because a lot of what I was feeling was things I'd never felt before in my human existence. But it was all very positive and beautiful, and I wept even though I didn't have eyes because I didn't have a physical body. It was a very powerful experience. So I'm giving you this experience, giving you this description to understand the vision that Spirit gave me today to describe this we are all one. If you can imagine spikes coming out of that ball of energy, that giant ball of energy, okay, that we would call God or source. you see like threads or spikes coming out of it, right? And they're not spikes like hard, sharp spikes. They're just extensions of that energy. And at the end of those spikes or extensions is another little ball of energy, which is a soul. So it's all connecting to source, but we're all connected as one because it's all coming from the same source. So every time you look at another person, you are actually looking at an extension of something we all collectively belong to, if that makes sense. So the reason this is important is because when we say that we can relate to people, when we say, oh man, I totally understand how you feel, I can relate to you, I can empathize with you, what's really happening is everything that we experience as a human being is energy. All the emotion that we experience, all the physical things that happen to us while we're in human form, all those physical things that we encounter create emotion within us, and that emotion is stored as energy. And so what we're really doing is we are experiencing each other's energy. And the reason why we can empathize, the reason why we can relate and we resonate with each other is because we're all experiencing the same energies, just at different times and in different ways. It's showing up differently for each of us, but it's all the same energy. It's all connected. So I believe what Spirit is trying to get us to understand here is that when we say we are one, it's kind of a vague thing to kind of wrap our head around and to understand. But what he's saying is that as we go through life and we come across people in different manners, sometimes it'll be pleasant experiences, sometimes it won't be so pleasant. You know, we say that people come in our life for a reason or for a season. They come in and out of our lives. To just keep in mind, because the other, and this leads into the other term of people are a reflection of yourself, right? So keep in mind that when you come in contact with these people throughout your lifetime, it really is a reflection of you because we're all one, because we're all connected through those energies, right? So the external experience you see them having may not be identical to yours, but the energy, we all experience the same energy in just different ways. And that's why we're able to relate. That's why we're able to empathize and sympathize and all those things, okay? So I feel this is important because, you know, in the spiritual community, we throw around a lot of terminology, a lot of concepts that if you haven't really gone really deep within and really kind of tried to understand them for yourself on a deep internal level, they become kind of just surface level jargon that just makes someone look spiritual. You know, like, oh, well, I know all the terminology, so if I just start saying it, people will think I'm spiritual. But that's not what it's about. It's not about trying to look a certain way. It's the whole point of understanding all of this is so that you can go within and you can start applying it to your life. And the end goal is so that you can know the truth of who you are in this universe. You know, the truth of the fact that you're a divine being and that you have immense power within you once you unlock these truths, right? So all of these things all kind of add up together. So this idea of being one is important to understand so that it can help us when we are relating to other people. When we are having experiences with other people, and I would say mostly this is the most helpful when we're having unpleasant experiences with other people, because our default within our ego mind, our brain, is to assume it's a negative experience or there's something wrong with it because we are perceiving it as a negative experience, when in reality it's the universe giving you an opportunity because that person is a reflection of something within you. So, and let me explain it this way. If someone triggers you, the reason they were able to trigger you is because there's something within you that's not healed, something that needs to be addressed. Because once you are someone who has got pretty far along the healing process, and you've mastered some things within yourself, it's a lot harder for people to trigger you because you're seeing them from a different perspective. You're seeing them from a different level. You're not taking things as personal because you understand that everyone is on their own journey. So when people come into your life and they trigger you, it is an opportunity to go within and ask yourself, okay, why is this person triggering me? What is it that's in them that is within me that I need to address and I need to heal? And as I was saying before, when you get to a certain level in your healing process, you will begin to notice that the same things that used to trigger you before don't trigger you anymore. And a lot of that is just coming with the understanding and maturity of how every person's spiritual journey is different. Now, if you take that a little bit deeper into what we're talking about with everyone being connected, is spirit has all these little fingers out into the universe, and it is experiencing everything simultaneously, if that makes sense. So again, if you can visualize that giant ball with a bunch of little, I think spikes is the wrong terminology. Just like I'm seeing the vision in my head is just like, just like lines stretching out, and at the end of each of those lines is the soul connected to it. So it's attached to the main source of energy, and it's experiencing itself in different ways all at the same time. And that's why, again, those energies are connected. So when we are interacting with people, it can be helpful to understand this concept, because it can help you to realize that we really are we're all this projection of spirit experiencing itself in different ways. And so when you come across people, if you can remember this basic concept, I believe it can help you in embracing these situations from a different perspective instead of taking it from such a personal perspective. I'll give you an example. I would consider myself pretty far along in the healing journey. I don't think any of us ever get to the point where we're completely perfect, because I don't believe that exists in human form. Because as long as we have ego, which is what makes us human, we're always going to struggle with certain things to an extent. But, you can tell when you get further along in that journey, because, like I said before, the things that used to bother you or trigger you, they simply don't anymore, because you have a higher level of understanding. So there are still some things in my life that I struggle with. And one of those things is my children. And in my healing journey, Spirit has had me work on blocks of things at a time, because I think he realized that trying to work on too many things simultaneously would be overwhelming and difficult to do, because I'm still a human being. I'm also a single mom. I'm back in school. I work from home, and I have 6 children, each of them with their own issues going on, and various extracurricular activities and stuff. I have a lot going on, and so to try to tackle everything at one time, that would just be overwhelming. So Spirit had me kind of tackling certain aspects of my spiritual journey at a time, and kind of master that particular thing and then move on to the next thing. And so right now, I've moved past some healing of childhood traumas and things like that. And now Spirit is really having me focus on my children, and really focusing on not only helping them through the things they're dealing with, because a lot of what they're dealing with is the aftermath of me not being healed. Things that I did early on in being a parent out of a place of being wounded and not knowing how to be a good parent. And it wasn't anything I did intentionally. It was just, you don't know what you don't know until you know it, right? So now I'm having to kind of go back and do a lot of work to heal my family dynamics. And in this process, my kids are constantly triggering me because they're each in their own little phase of their own journey, right? But the further along I get in this, the more I'm realizing the purpose and the reasoning behind this. They're not doing it to irritate me. I mean, maybe on a some level they are because they're kids, but this is more of a, okay, Mom, I'm going to trigger you to show you the things inside of you that you still need to heal and work on. And so that is kind of where I'm at in my journey. So now I look at it a little differently. So now when my kids trigger me, even though, as a parent, that's one of the hardest things to deal with because you love your kids and it's very frustrating. But now I'm to the point where I can take a deep breath. I can control my emotions. I'm going to say, okay, I know this is frustrating right now, but there is a purpose behind this, and I need to dig a little deeper, and I need to work on this and really remember to keep myself centered and focused, and remember that I am connected to my kids, and that what they're showing me is something that I need to work on within myself. And if I really want to heal this situation, I need to look at it from that higher perspective. So this can also manifest in when you are dealing with family members, when you're dealing with coworkers or bosses, when you're dealing with, any kind of relationship dynamic with anybody where there's triggers, I believe is really, I feel like this is why Spirit really wanted me to bring this message. I feel there's a lot of people that struggle with understanding this concept of we're all connected, because you can just say, oh, we're all connected. And then it's like, well, what does that mean? Why is that important? Who cares? So we're all connected. Whoop-de-doo. Like when we look around our world and we see things in a physical aspect, like I'm sitting in a parking lot right now and I'm seeing cars and I'm seeing trees and I'm seeing people in cars. I'm seeing people walking, and I'm thinking, I don't feel connected to them because I'm perceiving it from my 3D physical senses. But that's not what Spirit's talking about. And I think that's what this whole message, I'm sorry guys, when I channel messages, I just have to go through, this is like a secondary channeling because I had the initial channeling earlier. So now I'm trying to kind of re-tap into that channeling. So if it's all over the place, I do apologize, but hopefully you're getting the gist of what I'm saying here. If I can now understand to look at this now from a higher perspective instead of just trying to perceive it through my physical eyes and my sense of disconnect through the physical senses, like what I just said, like, okay, there's a car over there, there's a person over there. And if I can instead try to perceive it from a higher perspective, and I can look at this woman in the car across from me and say, you know what? I bet this woman is really not so different from me. She may have different circumstances, but the emotions she feels are the same. The energy that she experiences is the same. And that's what Spirit's saying, is that's how we're all connected. Yes, our physical circumstances may look different. She may have a lot more money than me. She may be more well educated than me. She may have no children or more children than me. There could be a lot of physical differences. She drives a fancier car. She lives in a bigger house, or the other way around. But what connects us is the fact that we're all part of the same soul. We're all coming from that same soul source, I should say. And so the energy and the emotions that we're feeling, we're all connected on that level. So if I sense that, she's having a hard time in life or whatever, the reason I can empathize with that is because I know what that feels like, because I've gone through that. Why? Because all of those energies all come from the same soul source. So I really hope I'm making sense. At this point, I feel like maybe I'm repeating myself, so I'm going to cut the recording short here. But I hope this makes sense to you. I hope it's of help. And like everything, take this into discernment. And I encourage you to do more research. And the best research you can always do is to go within. Go within and commune with yourself, with your higher self, with God, with Source, and really try to see this from a deeper perspective and how this can help you in your own journey. Okay, so I love you, beautiful souls. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Namaste.